We just spoke last night.
I know.
This is going to be fun for me because, what do they say? Imitation is the truest form of flattery or something to that effect. All right. Last year you did this thing called 94 feet.
Yeah, yep.
You asked some crazy questions, so I'm going to ask them to you.
Sounds good, all right.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar, Sarah Mathews, women's basketball coach, and last year, via social media, watched you walk the court with your players and ask them a series of questions. It was called 94 feet, obviously, because 94 feet.
And I stole it, too.
Okay.
Do you know who I stole it from?
No.
Jay Billis. So if you ever see every game that he does, he always picks somebody from the team at 94 feet. So.
All right. So here are some of the questions that you asked.
Okay.
Favorite pro sports team?
Ooh, we've talked about this. I'm a New York Knicks fan, and they're terrible. But I'm from New York, so I gotta be. And I'm not a fair weather fan, so. But we talk about that sometimes. It's tough.
All right. So then you also asked favorite college women's basketball team?
Other than Bridgewater?
Yes, besides your own.
I'm from Syracuse. I'm a huge Syracuse fan, so. And they're very good on the women's side.
Okay.
And some years they're okay on the men's side, too.
You asked one player, crimson or gold?
Ooh, crimson.
All right. Was there meaning behind that?
No. It
Okay.
looks better on the
Okay, got it. Night owl or early bird, you asked?
Ooh, that depends. I think in season, sometimes we'll practice later. Like, I feel bad I got here late today. So I'm more of a night owl, watching film, that kind of thing. Out of season, much more of an early bird.
Best basketball memory?
Ooh. As a coach, it's a little bit off topic, but I recruited a kid. We had a certain program at my last school where you could get kids with a little bit of a lower GPA in. So I got a kid, it was a lower GPA. She came in with this program. She had like a C average. She really struggled her first semester. We worked with her. She wanted to work with us. The following semester, the kid ended up getting a 4.0. And just to me, that's something I'll never forget. This kid, her name's Tiffany Binion, loved the kid to death. And just to see that and that transformation in her first year was just so impressive. So it's something I'll never forget.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix. I can't afford both.
Okay. I think we're all in the same boat. Your go-to late night snack?
Ooh, being from New York again, I'm a pizza girl, so.
All right.
Yep.
Are you candy or popcorn at the movies?
Ooh. Popcorn, I'd say.
All right. Do you have a nickname?
Yeah, I talked about this at Media Day, actually. My name is Sarah, which the meaning is princess, and I'm an only child. So growing up, I was just always known as princess, and I'm still spoiled to death, so.
I won't be using that in the post.
Thank you.
Duke or Carolina?
This is tough because Reggie's a Duke fan. Our team is split right down the middle, so it's really tough when we have our Duke Carolina parties. But I'd have to go with Duke, probably.
All right. You have to go with Duke. I was thinking about this as I wrote that down. As a kid, I had a small backboard in my basement that was Tar Heels.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I had put a bumper sticker on it that said, "I bleed red and white." And it had the wolf pack on it. Because, I grew up around the time Valvano and those guys were very good and, winning a tournament. So, that was fun stuff. Nobody ever asks Carolina or NC State.
No, or Wake.
Right. What's your best post-game meal?
Probably pizza again. No, I really like Italian food. So
okay.
Anything Italian.
So is that your favorite meal on campus?
Ooh, that's a good question, the KCC. I actually really like when we have sushi day in the KCC.
All right.
It's usually, I think, the second Tuesday of every month.
Favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip, for sure.
No. Very nice.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So, I asked some other folks about their playing career. You have some accolades in your playing career. What was it like?
Yeah, my playing career was very interesting because it helped me a lot as a coach. I learned a lot early on. I played at a junior college for 2 years. We were really successful. I ended up transferring to a 4-year school in North Carolina. So I'm a New York girl. I kind of like city life. I used to go to New York City all the time.
You're in the wrong place.
And then I go to a school in North Carolina that's very rural. And so it was a terrible fit. So something I learned and I use with recruiting is it's all about fit. And I know every coach would say that. So I ended up transferring to UNC Greensboro after my playing career. My parents lived in Greensboro at the time, and I just kind of figured out, I said, I'll go there for a semester, kind of see what I want to do. And then I ended up working, I was a student assistant with Coach Agee, who's the winningest coach at UNCG. And she just threw me in there. She let me do whatever I wanted. So I was involved with scouts, and I'm like 22, and I'm like running scouts and doing drills in practice. It was so cool. And I just said, this is what I want to do. So I ended up staying at UNCG. I didn't play my last 2 years. To be honest with you, I don't really regret it because I learned so much, and I wouldn't be here today if I didn't do that. So.
This is not your first head coaching job.
No. Yep, I was at Keuka College, so everybody called me crazy. I was an assistant at Eckerd College down in Florida. I moved up to Keuka College in upstate New York, where it's freezing for like 10 months out of the year. But it was a good opportunity. It was closer to home, and it was a program that had really won in the past. The year before I got there, they had 2,000-point scorers that they graduated. They lost 75% of their scoring and 68% of their rebounding, and that's what I walked into, so what a challenge. But man, we built that thing up, and it was a lot of fun, and I had a really good time. But then, this opportunity came, and this is something I had to jump on. Well,
so your experience with what's going on this year, because I was talking to Steve, and I think I mentioned this to you before we went on the other night, and I said, I knew the men's team had lost some scorers, so I did the math, and I'm like, there it is, 58%. And then I said, well, just curious, Bree, and they lost Harvey, and then lost Moore. That's a lot of scoring. Let's see what that is. 58%.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, good grief. And of course Sydney played into that as well. It wasn't just those two young women, but and Allie, and so you'd lost some scoring there. And I thought, well, how daunting is that? But then I feel like every year, especially in college, you're thinking, well, this great player just graduated, how are we going to replace them? Right. And it wasn't too long ago you were trying to replace Lamb.
Right.
And the scoring showed up, though.
Right, yeah. I think a lot of coaches would be nervous in that situation. I just told my players, it's an opportunity. You know what I mean? And what we're trying to do, a little bit different this year, is we had two big guns last year that were scoring like 16 and 14 every game. And we're just playing more bodies. We're trying to get multiple people at like 10 a game. And then multiple people at 6, 7, 8. So if you look at that, we have multiple people scoring, decent points. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Less, not two big guns, but more like 5, 6 that can get us around 10 points. And just the way we play naturally, I think we're going to do that successfully.
So I talked to, I was telling Steve, I said a lot of times coaches come in and they have a plan of what they want to run, but the roster they have at that moment doesn't allow it.
Right.
This, in your plan to push it, this is as close as you've been, I guess, in the 3 years, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It takes a while to implement a system. We really started doing it last year, and you could see little pieces and little glimpses of things going our way. We ended up having some injuries and issues, so we couldn't play as many people towards the end. I think that's why we really struggled. But man, this year we got our deeper roster, which is what you need. It's great. Every game we're playing 11, 12 people, getting a lot of minutes. We try to get them in and we try to get them out, and then just push the tempo. And so I always tell all my players, you're going in for 3 minutes, play as hard as you can, both sides of the ball. We'll get you out for a quick blow, and then we'll get you back in. And I think they're really buying into that, and it's a lot of fun. They're enjoying it. One
thing I've said to you, maybe during the post game or not, off air, so to speak, is there's been a noticeable difference in fitness and that sort of thing for your team. Obviously, they're going to need it to run this style of offense, but I told you, just to the naked eye, it's apparent that these young ladies are transforming their bodies. Yeah, we had a lot of kids just come in leaner. That's what we talked about, like an Aaliyah Moon, just coming in with, being fit. We talked from day one last year, back in March, hey, if you want to play this style, you've got to be the most fit team in the ODAC, and that's our goal. So I think kids just naturally, they worked at it over the summer. A couple kids just dropped weight, like I said, just very lean, and came in ready to go. And that's crucial. I said, if you come in decent shape, in the offseason, I'm sure Coach Beach will get you in pretty good shape. And then once I get you, I'll get you in really good shape. And we do so much up and down. And again, kids are bought in. And every up and down, it's in a drill. It's not. I'm not just saying get on the line. You know what I mean? So it's we're working on skill work, but we're getting a lot of up and down, and they don't even realize it in practice. Now, let's talk about the construction of the roster right now. I think a lot of the pressure, at least in my mind, is going to fall on Maddie to a bit. But as you said, the scoring responsibility is going to be fairly well distributed. Yes. And I think Claire can give you some points. She looked really good the other night, and was when she's hitting that mid-range, what a help that is to you guys.
Yeah, no, Claire, I think each of our first 3 games we've had a different leading score, I believe, which is really helpful too. But we've got several role players, and that's what we're talking about. You had talked about skill development, that we're just continuing to get them better. So then again, it can be evenly distributed with our points. But Aaliyah Moons played really well. Maddie Baum played really well. Claire McCarskey played well. We're still trying to get Lindsay going. We haven't even seen the best yet because we're not on all cylinders. We got a 1-year transfer, a kid from Spotswood that went to Mary Wash. Mackenzie Jenkins, and she's had an ankle injury, but that kid can really score the ball in a variety of ways. And again, she's had this injury that's just kind of been lingering, but once we get her back, that's another score. I mean, she can score a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I got to see Mackenzie play an awful lot in high school.
Yeah, so you know.
Covered her games in high school. But I'd say the other kid you brought in from Spotswood has, at least in my mind, been just a real pleasant surprise. Mary Ruth, I mean, she's given you max effort.
Yeah. So this kid at Spotswood, she averaged 2 points a game last year, and she comes in, and a lot of people said, Sarah, you're kind of crazy for recruiting a kid, and what is she doing like that with those kind of stats? She comes in, and she is so consistent. She defends. She's not going to get beat one-on-one. She's always going to be at help side. I think she's averaging like 7 or 8 points, scoring ridiculous percentages, too, if you look at them. She's even shooting almost 50% from 3, I think, right now. And then she rebounds the ball really well, too. And just always makes the right basketball read, the right basketball play. And as a freshman, that's pretty impressive. And
we talk about recruiting, and sometimes you have to realize the system that a player is in, and scoring was not her responsibility per se on that Spotswood team.
Right.
They had some incredible players, and Mary Ruth had a role to play. She can do more. Yeah, she's a bigger role here, and I told her that from day one. You're going to get a lot more shots here. So she's been getting in the gym more and that kind of stuff. So, hey, again, we talk about opportunities, and she's seizing it. Health is such an important thing, and you're missing a couple players right now. Yeah. I mean, do you envision being at full strength at some point this year? I do, knock on wood, absolutely, just staying positive. What's good is depth. We have depth this year, and that's what I've recruited. So, if we do have somebody out for a game or two, we've got somebody else backing them up. And again, we're trying to play 12, 13 a game, which will be big. And we've got 2 players that are out right now that I think will get back second semesters with their injury, and we're excited about them. I think they can both be impact players too later on, so I think the best is yet to come. Yeah, I was going to say, you can just see that there's probably some talent there. I mean, one of the young ladies we've seen play some, the other we haven't yet, and that's kind of got to be exciting right now to think about, hey, when we're at full strength, we're going to be even better. Yeah, I think so, and I'm just telling them that right now. We're 0-3 right now. I said stay faithful, stay positive, because like I said, the best basketball is yet to come. That might come more second semester, and that's not the end of the world. We want to be playing our best basketball in February anyway. Well, I said to you the other night after the CNU game, and lopsided score, it was last year, and I said, after that you won 4 out of 5. I know. So it's not like you have a team with a memory. Right. You got to have a closer's mentality sometime, from a baseball standpoint, and just forget it. Yeah, and I think too, we were preseason, we were ranked 10th or 11th toward the bottom. And we use that as a motivator this year. So our kids, if you watch, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. Because I told them that from day one, nobody's expecting anything from you. So if you see how hard we play, I think that's a big reason why. So, again, when people come out to Nininger, I mean, they're just going to see a bunch of players come on and off the court. Yeah. And they're going to see, a team that is running constantly. Yeah. It's a track meet. We're just trying to run the other team off the court. We always talk about it. It's usually in the third quarter, and we haven't seen it yet, but we will. It's usually in the third quarter is when the other team just starts to wear down, and they're starting to make mental mistakes and turnovers, and they're not shooting the ball as well because they're fatigued. And that's when we really start to go on our run. So again, haven't seen it yet. I'm telling my players to stay faithful because they will. But yeah, we're excited. Well, like I said to you the other night, though, is you've played very deep teams that won't be as susceptible, so to speak, to that sort of thing. But I think in the grind of an ODAC season, you'll probably see that. Absolutely, playing 2 or 3 games a week. I think there's no doubt about that. Yep. Coach, anything else you want to share with the folks? No, again, I got some good stories about Marcus, but I'll tell them off camera. Oh, boy. Hey, Coach Sarah Mathews. Sarah, thank you so much.